50 Shades of Grey by L.James, a deep dive into the world of desire, power, and control. When a book becomes a global phenomenon, it's bound to spark heated debates and intense curiosity. 50 Shades of Grey by L.James is one of those rare works that has made an indelible mark on the world of literature, and not always for the reasons you'd expect. Love it or loathe it, this book undeniably pushed the boundaries of contemporary romance and brought BDSM, power dynamics, and controversial relationships into mainstream conversation. But what is it about this story that has captured the imaginations of millions? And what does it really say about power, vulnerability, and love? Let's take a deeper look, both at the plot and its underlying messages. Plot overview. At the heart of 50 Shades of Grey is the unexpected and complex relationship between Anastasia Steele, a shy, introverted college graduate, and Christian Grey, a successful, enigmatic billionaire with a dark secret. When Anastasia interviews Christian for her roommate's journalism assignment, she is struck by his mysterious allure. Unbeknownst to her, this meeting marks the beginning of a relationship that is both captivating and, at times, unsettling. As their connection grows, Christian introduces Anastasia to his world, a world where his wealth, power, and sexual desires are intertwined. What he reveals is not just an ordinary relationship, but one centered around a BDSM lifestyle where he is dominant and she submissive. At first, Anastasia is overwhelmed and confused, yet intrigued by the intensity of his passion and the psychological complexity of their arrangement. As the relationship unfolds, so do the emotional and physical challenges that accompany their highly charged dynamic. What begins as a story of lust and curiosity quickly turns into a much more profound exploration of personal boundaries, emotional trauma, and the nature of control in intimate relationships. What seems to be a simple erotic romance is in fact a nuanced narrative about vulnerability, personal growth, and the complexity of love. Now, let's not be mistaken. At its core, 50 Shades of Grey is more than just a tale of a dominant billionaire and his submissive lover. It's a story about the human need for connection, understanding, and the often blurry lines between pain and pleasure, power and submission. The novel dives into the psychological underpinnings of desire and how trauma can shape the way people approach relationships. Christian Grey, the quintessential tortured soul, is far from the perfect hero that some might expect. Beneath his ice-cold exterior, he harbors deep emotional scars from his abusive childhood. His need for control, especially in the bedroom, is directly tied to his attempt to overcome past traumas. His desire for Anastasia is more than just physical. It's about seeking a sense of control over his life and perhaps healing the wounds that have never fully healed. In many ways, Christian embodies the contradictions of human nature: loving, yet controlling; vulnerable, yet dominant. Anastasia Steele is portrayed as a young woman who begins the story as shy, independent, and unsure of herself. She represents a journey of self-discovery. Initially, she is hesitant about Christian's dominant nature and his unorthodox desires. However, as the story progresses, Anastasia becomes more empowered, realizing her own strength and what she is truly capable of, not just in her relationship with Christian, but also in her career and personal growth. Her evolution is one of the most compelling aspects of the story, as she navigates the complexities of love, trust, and consent. Power dynamics and control. One of the most controversial aspects of 50 Shades of Grey is the power dynamic between Christian and Anastasia. Christian's dominant role in their relationship is explicit, and this introduces a broader conversation about control, consent, and boundaries. The book has been criticized for romanticizing unhealthy relationships, particularly in the context of emotional abuse and manipulation. Critics argue that Christian's behavior crosses lines, particularly when he uses his wealth and influence to manipulate Anastasia. However, the story can also be seen through a different lens, one that speaks to the complexities of power in relationships. While Christian is undoubtedly flawed, his desire to control and possess is not entirely sinister. It's a manifestation of his deep-seated insecurities and need for emotional intimacy. In contrast, Anastasia's willingness to explore and understand these dynamics represents the agency she gains in her journey. There is, in fact, a delicate balance in how the characters negotiate control, and the evolution of their consent is a central theme of the narrative. As Anastasia grows more confident, she begins to challenge Christian's need for dominance, ultimately seeking to redefine their relationship in a more equitable and emotionally fulfilling way. The darker side, toxicity or transformation? One of the most critical discussions surrounding the book centers on its portrayal of BDSM culture. Many argue that 50 Shades of Grey presents a problematic and skewed view of the BDSM lifestyle, one that is far from the consensual, respectful nature that the culture promotes. While the book explores the allure of power and submission, it also raises questions about what it means to have control in a relationship, both emotionally and physically. That said, there's an argument to be made that Christian and Anastasia's relationship is more about transformation than it is about toxicity. Through their bond, they both confront their personal demons and heal in ways they never anticipated. Christian finds a way to open up about his past traumas, while Anastasia learns the importance of setting boundaries and reclaiming control over her life. Their relationship, as flawed as it is, becomes a journey of mutual growth. Strengths and weaknesses of the novel. L.James's writing style has been one of the most debated aspects of 50 Shades of Grey. Some readers enjoy her straightforward, accessible prose, while others find it repetitive and lacking in literary flair. Regardless of one's opinion on her writing, it's clear that James excels in creating a compelling emotional atmosphere. The sexual tension and chemistry between the characters is palpable, and the rawness of their intimate scenes draws readers into the emotional heart of the story. However, the novel is not without its flaws. The portrayal of BDSM and its dynamics has been heavily criticized for being shallow and unrealistic. Some readers feel that the author oversimplifies complex psychological issues, while others feel that the relationship dynamic between Christian and Anastasia becomes repetitive and formulaic as the series progresses. Additionally, Christian's controlling behavior at times crosses the line into what many consider emotional manipulation, which detracts from the book's overall message of healthy relationships built on mutual respect. Social relevance and cultural impact. Despite the criticism, there's no denying the significant impact 50 Shades of Grey has had on both literature and popular culture. The book sparked a global conversation about sexual freedom, power dynamics in relationships, and the blurred lines between desire and abuse. It gave a voice to women's fantasies that were once considered taboo, and in doing so, it challenged traditional narratives around love, sexuality, and consent. In many ways, 50 Shades forced readers to confront their own perceptions of what constitutes a healthy, balanced relationship. It made people ask difficult questions about control, vulnerability, and the choices we make in intimate partnerships. While it may not be a perfect representation of these themes, it undeniably opened up discussions that were long overdue. In conclusion, 50 Shades of Grey is a multifaceted book that combines romance, power dynamics, and psychological depth in a way that many readers find compelling. It's a story about love, control, and healing, but also one that doesn't shy away from uncomfortable questions about consent, abuse, and emotional manipulation. While the book has its share of flaws, it is also a testament to the ways in which literature can spark conversation and challenge preconceived notions. Whether you love it or hate it, 50 Shades of Grey is undeniably a cultural phenomenon that will be remembered for years to come. Now that you've heard a detailed overview and analysis of this novel, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Christian and Anastasia's relationship? Was the book too controversial for your taste, or did it offer something valuable? Feel free to drop your comments below and share your opinions. And don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel so you can stay tuned for more interesting book reviews in the future. See you in the next video!